you shall be called my delight, and your land espoused. For the Lord delights in you and makes your land his spouse. As a young man marries a virgin, your builder shall marry you. And as a bridegroom rejoices in his bride, so shall your God rejoice in you. Not a slave, but his spouse is how God characterized the relationship between himself and his people. This is why when the Israelites offered sacrifice to foreign gods, that their act was described as adultery, not just idolatry. God utilized the imagery of marriage, the partnership between spouses, to speak of his love for mankind and the way in which his people were to work with him to bring about new life, renewal to humanity, a new heaven and a new earth. This spousal union was brought to a categorically new level in the person of Jesus Christ, in whom God and man are perfectly, harmoniously joined. And do you remember how Jesus spoke of himself when asked why his disciples didn't fast like the Pharisees or John the Baptist? Do you remember what he said? Can the wedding guests fast while the bridegroom is with them? I, your builder, Jesus was saying, marry you. On your own, you are only water. With me, you are transformed into something new, life-giving, joyous, unexpected. This is the basis for the sacrament of marriage. A sacrament is something that's not fully known because it's not fully visible. It lies outside of direct sensory experience. It's something visible that communicates something invisible. It's not something that a Christian man and woman sit down and kind of hash out and decide before they say, I do. But look, God has revealed what marriage is like by using that language to describe himself and his people. A permanent gift of himself. Not, I give it and then take it back. A faithful gift. One that's loyal all the way to the end. And one that's fruitful, brings about new life. Which is why when a marriage is validly entered into by two Christians, it's unbreakable because God's love is permanent. It's unbreakable. It reveals something. The union between man and woman reveals something of God's redemptive act. He's involving those who are married in his regeneration, renewal of the world. I mean, I know of no other way of understanding marriage that is as compelling, meaningful, and exalted. And it's not without real world benefits, too. Here's some social science research that I just came across, compiled by Brad Wilcox. Listen to this. From online influencers, right, to elite messaging to prominent publications, it's easy to get the impression that the path to prosperity, a meaningful life, and happiness leads away from family formation and towards the single life, work, and travel. That's all over the place. Now, guess which group of women is richer? Childless singles or married mothers? It's married mothers. In 2020, married mothers ages 18 to 55 had a median family income of $108,000 compared to $41,000 for childless single women of the same ages. That's over twice as much for the married mothers, plenty more, even when split with a spouse. And as these married mothers head into retirement in their 50s, they have accumulated $322,000 in median assets, compared to $100,000 for their single, childless peers. Despite what Bloomberg reports, today's married mothers are getting markedly richer than single women with no children. Much the same story applies to men. Stably married men heading into retirement, for instance, have a staggering 10 times more assets than their divorced or never married male peers. But there are some things that money can't buy, right? Like a meaningful life. Guess which group of women reports greater success in this pursuit? Married mothers. In 2021, 60% of married mothers ages 18 to 55 reported that their lives were meaningful most or all of the time. 60%. Only 36% of single, childless women of the same ages said their lives were that meaningful. What about happiness? Guess which group of women is happier? The women with the greatest freedom or the women with the greatest family responsibilities? Again, married mothers. Looking again at women 18 to 55, 75% of married mothers reported in 2022 that they were either completely or somewhat satisfied with their lives. 75% compared to 54% of single, childless women. Right? There's no question that married fathers also report the most meaning and greatest happiness in their lives. So if you're a man who wishes to be happy, you'd be well advised to do the opposite of what the typical online influencer tells you to do when it comes to love. And friends, this is extraordinary. If you look even deeper underneath the statistics and psychology communication techniques, you find that conservative values and those who are devoutly religious are key markers to successful marriages. I mean, to be sure, socioeconomic status is a factor in the lives of people reporting happiness and meaning. But one of the things that is so fascinating is that while marriage is a contributing factor to economic success, even where family earnings are lower, if the marriage is good, life is described as happy and meaningful. Money can't buy that. And so we might ask, well, why wouldn't this be the case for Christians who are given a chance through their marriages of making visible the love of God and the renewal of the world?